On this week's episode of the Superhero Show, we'll find out
if Captain America's shield on Spider-Man the Animated Series is a better shield or table decoration.
How many of the 6 Forgotten Warriors have we already met on this show?
And if you could be called the Black Marvel, even if your chauffeur is black himself.
All of that and more in an all-new episode of the Superhero Show. Hello, nerds, and welcome to the Superhero Show, the only podcast that covers every single TV show based in comic books that we feel like talking about that are new this week. Look at that. No new shows. It's another one of our favorite kinds of episodes. It's S Tasmania Bitch, a mini show within a show where we dive into the seminal and underrated after-school cartoon of the mid-90s, Spider-Man the Animated Series. I'm your host, Mike. This is your host, Ryan.
You covered everything in that intro. I don't have anything to say. Oh, wait. The name of your host is Mike. No, you already covered that. You did it all.
Should I save that one for you next time?
Yeah. And here to introduce me is this guy.
That is a power move. I cannot introduce myself.
Otherwise, you can't come inside.
Like Sinners? Should we just talk about Sinners?
Dude, I feel like every podcast we do for the last 4 months has mentioned Sinners in some way. Look, we like the movie. I'm sorry.
We were excited about it. Then we were still excited about it. Then some of us saw it. Now all of us have seen it. I'm betting money on our sister show that at some point our co-host there, Greg, and I talk about how much we want Haley Steinfeld to spit into our mouths, and you get freaked out. Just looking at all of our histories, that is coming.
Based on the way that you two talk about women and my last name, yes, I do absolutely see that as a thing.
Oh, is that somebody in the movie? We were mostly talking about you. Ryan, when we open Spider-Man 504, The 6 Forgotten Warriors, who all y'all remember the secrets of the 6 Forgotten Warriors?
I'm sorry, you're still saying the title of the episode?
Yeah.
Who says, y'all, where y'all, where y'all?
You all, who all y'all remember.
Uh-huh.
It's a different direction. Spider-Man is doing his mopey swinging, but he opens up I got to remind the kids who are watching what's going on. And he says, I've got to find the 6 Forgotten Warriors. And then we get a flashback to a scene we never saw. Because now they're just used to flashbacking. And it's Robbie introducing Peter to Omar.
I feel like we are on the precipice of TV history. Guinness, get by the phone. Because we're about to call you. This might be the closest to an entire episode's duration being a flashback that we have ever seen in our entire lives.
Because it was all that one day, and within that day, it was the 1940s story. Oh my God, I didn't even think about that. That's crazy.
Within that day, World War II, World War I, Vietnam, and Spider-Man having to talk to a gargoyle all happened on the same day.
Why even open with Spider-Man? It's only to remind the kids you're watching Spider-Man the Animated Series.
No. There's a good chance that if there was not this opening, we would forget what show we were watching. And honestly, even though I remember the Spider-Man opening, I thought for a bit of time I was watching an HBO in its heyday show. Maybe not.
Well, Omar is coming.
John from Cincinnati. Omar is coming. And I'm sorry that I talked over your interruption because that should have reigned supreme.
I'm sorry I interrupted your amazing John from Cincinnati reference.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry that I apologized before you because I sort of took some stuff away from your apology and it should have been yours.
What I'm sorry about, Ryan, is that I have to move this segment on. Omar's telling Robbie and Peter about the 6 Forgotten Warriors. But should they be called that when we learn, and it took me so long to realize this, one of those 6 Forgotten Warriors is Captain America, who in this universe, Steve Rogers.
Who?
America's ass.
I already forgot.
This Cap never came back, which I was like, no, we've seen him. No, that was an X-Men. We've never seen Cap in Spider-Man. And so he is just a World War II hero. Because he's like, that's a shield just like Captain America's. And Omar's like, I'm about to blow your mind. This is Captain America's shield. And then we get the flashback. We get Steve's origin. This is not Dr. Erskine. This is Dr. Reinstein. Because it's hard to think of World War II scientists' names.
Sure. Roll the dice of German last name syllables. And you got Reinstein. Which
Where'd
is
you
so
come up
close
with
to
that one?
Rammstein.
Du Haas.
Every time you say do, I know a Du Haas is coming.
You know Du Haas. Have you ever heard that? We've had to have done this. Have you heard that song in English?
No. Is it
It's not as cool. It's you hate me. It's not as epic sounding as in German.
You know what? I do hate you, writer of that song. Watching this Captain America origin, and I know that you said that there are some differences because of what happens to Captain America after the origin.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of some last names that are changed, I feel like we have seen this origin 1,000 times, and we might be done with it.
Yeah. My favorite part about this origin, though, is the minute they're not doing scientific tests. It's even before the guy with the most Bronx accent in the world says, in the name of the fatherland, I'll destroy the American war machine.
It'd be a real fucking shame if something happened to this war machine.
I'm smashing here. They give Steve Rogers his Cap costume in the lab. He's still dripping wet from the super serum goo.
And, whoa, okay. So the ears are just flying off my head. Okay. Like, I have notes, but no, it seems like that your costume is already created.
I'm a trained artist. You could have consulted me. I could have designed something.
I love how it looks from the tits down, but man, are those wings just flying off my head. Also, did you notice that he was in a pool?
Yeah.
Not a tube.
Just a full pool.
Full pool.
We learned only 5 more doses were synthesized, but they were an unstable process. And the Omar says, miraculously, no one was hurt. All right, because I guess I was like, holy shit, are we getting Isaiah Bradley? And I was like, no, this is for children. There's no way they're going to talk about the horrors of the American system.
Also, nor is there one of those when they have the 5 other tubes, the synthesized potions. There's not one person who's like, oh my God, please kill me. Just warped into a fetus of a person.
No, because we get a speedster, somebody who can fly, sonic shockwaves,
hey,
and
Mike,
2 that have
right now. Mike, we're out of time. We don't have time for you to announce any other powers. Okay, can you go wrap it up, please?
Yeah, 2 that are like Cap but worse.
That was the edit that they made. It's like, oh, you guys are 19 minutes, 45 seconds. Can you please just say that the last 2 are like Cap, but not?
So that's just like a normal athlete, I think. Except that sometimes you go from normal athlete to sometimes they're like you and me. What if the Kelsey brothers sometimes had our strength?
So yeah, and then they just get costumes, even though they have the strength of man times 1.35.
This guy sort of goes to CrossFit a lot.
You know, when you listen to a podcast at 1.5 speed, this person hears it at normal speed. That's his power.
Whoa. I have that, I think. They all also get rings that have numbers on them, 1 through 5, that turn their powers on and off. Mm-hmm. And Spider-Man, we make fun of Guardians of the Galaxy and Star-Lord for doing this, but Spider-Man has the audacity to make fun of their names. Your name is Spider-Man.
I'm a man like a spider. I'm a Spider-Man. This should not be taking place in comic book based properties. That's what I believe. Although, Mike, I have to push back a little bit. One of them is called the Wizard, and he's colored in yellow. And
what Spider-Man he should have said is 5 of these have great names.
The Thunderer and Miss America, that's Spider-Man level. That's fine.
Destroyer is the coolest comic book name ever. Yes, the Wizard sucks.
That's fucking rad. You are a fucking monster truck, the Destroyer.
He has the power to turn into a monster truck. And then we learn Omar Mosley was Black Marvel's chauffeur and sidekick. And he even gets the little hat. Who's the Green Hornet's sidekick? Kato.
Kato.
He gets that. the six are on a mission, and now I'm like, why aren't we watching a cartoon series just about these guys? Captain America and 5 duds, and they find a matchbook with Red Skull's face on it. But also, they're like, let's look harder at this matchbook. It has a microscopic film negative with a device designed to defeat the six and the country.
Man, the amount of information that matchbooks hold, I would say would rival Encyclopedia Britannica. Right? Like, if you just open up a matchbook, you'll probably find where you want to go and who you want to see.
More than Encarta 95.
More than the video game Myst.
Oh, fuck you. I was gonna say, more than the weird not video game that came with Encarta 95. Nope, that's not.
Oh, fuck. No, I'm top there. I can't go past that.
There's a long dialogueless scene of Red Skull and goons going somewhere. They're just like running around a city. Nothing's happening for a long time. And then they go to kill Wolfgang, and Cap saves him, which is the scientist that got kidnapped a couple episodes ago when he's an old man. And then Cap and the Red Skull get sucked into the energy vortex, which I don't know if that is a separate thing or if that is the doomsday device. I'm going to say it gets murky.
Yeah, I don't think it is, because they want to keep secret what the doomsday device is.
Yes.
And I don't think it has to do with Dr. Doom or the movies that are about to come out, but they fall into a different thing because Cap and Red Skull do the ultimate thing. Red Skull's like, you'll never defeat me. And Cap is like, if I defeat you, it all goes, even if I die, at least you'll die. And they go into this green wavy attitude. Lines, which is the same thing that like old fish gives off, right? Like just stinky.
Yeah. That vortex is stinky.
It smells like absolute garbage. Like
it smells like a fucking fish concert. Trey Anastasio is just noodling.
You know how it doesn't matter what trash you put into a dumpster, they all smell the same. That's what it smells like. Oh. And then they go up, instead of Cap getting frozen in ice, he's in the green wavy line zone. And that's
hanging out with the Green Goblin in his weird dimension. And then Omar's like, the other 5 all vowed to one day free Captain America. But then they got distracted.
They got jobs at banks.
They were ordered to disband, and they were beta cucks who listened to the government. They did disband. They all have the doofiest voices.
Also, the best part about this episode was that like World War II was not in the headlines anymore.
Yeah.
And so this is like a Watchmen level of like, no, we need to be in the headlines. Otherwise, what is the point? And so that's why they disbanded.
Omar and Dan Lyons, the alias of Black Marvel, research vortex phenomenon. And this is, let's say, unreliable narrator. The other 5 all just did whatever the fuck they wanted. But me and Black Marvel, we decided to get doctorates and research vortexes because we were going to save Cap. And Robbie became my student and then friend.
Did they go through every class in order to get that doctorate, or did they put that key on the desk of the dean and like, look at this key? This is an important key. Can I get my doctorate, please?
Be a shame if you didn't see this key.
Be a shame if all your pens got knocked off your desk.
And then we find out like nobody knows what the doomsday device is. They just know that the world will be in dire peril. We're now back in modern days. And we cut to Kingpin just bear hugging, crushing Scorpion, being like, "Are you the traitor? I'm gonna break your back." And he's like, "No," and he's like, "Oh, okay." He got through the bear hug gauntlet.
Scorpion, like to back him up, he does say, "I'm not the traitor." And then Kingpin knows, oh, he's the host of the show. He can't be the traitor.
He can be the traitor. Meanwhile, Landon is in this room and he hacked every database in the country to find the 5 Forgotten Warriors, which is easy in 1996 when there's 2.5 databases.
But you have to admit, he hacked through the mainframe.
A random new wrinkle is Kingpin's like, great, we need to find 6 statues of ancient gods of war, which contains the keys. Where the fuck did we learn that? Where did that come from?
Oh, Mikey. We're in a whole new zone of like, throw in some, what's popular now? The Mummy? Is the Mummy in movie theaters? Put them in statues. But at least we have the Rhino to be like, Kingpin says, the keys are in the statues. And then Rhino says, those don't look like keys. Those look like statues. And see, now we're all here. Now we're all
That's pretty
together.
golden. Thanks, Rhino. We cut to a young lad named Bobby. He's drawing the Thing, and an old man is critiquing him that it doesn't look real and his head's too small. And we learn he's a comic editor, and young Bobby says, well, all the bullshit you used to draw, old man, also didn't look real. The Wizard is horseshit.
Did this episode come out when like Image was launching? Like, what is the point of this scene?
I was like, are they digging at Stan Lee? Are they digging at Kirby? Maybe are they digging at Image?
I think they're digging at Rob Liefeld.
And they're like, we don't want to make it too obvious and call it Liefeld's feet. So we're going to talk about how the head is too small.
But they're defending him. Right, exactly. Because we can see the Thing's feet. The Thing is the person being drawn. But like, also, Dr. Frost, what's his name?
The Wizard. We find out he is the Wizard.
The Wizard says that drawing is bullshit. And the kid who drew it is like, it's not that crazy. Like, it looks the same as like what you did in the 40s. So there is something going on here.
Yeah, for sure. So some animator and writer had an axe to grind against the old class, the old guard of Marvel Comics. Reiner breaks in, and this is where we learn he was the Wizard. And he says, give me the key or you ain't going to live to see 100. Bro, he's so close, and that's so old. I don't know if that's the threat you think it is.
Do you know how pissed off Al Roker is going to be if you don't let him see 100?
So pissed.
So pissed.
That's all Al Roker wants. Then Spider-Man sees the Vulture chasing a flying old woman, and then he runs out of webbing, but then still saves her. Calls her Miss America, and she's like, what? And then he does not explain. He just tails it out of there.
Can I, like, the whole out of webbing thing, like, I am a believer that Spider-Man should have mechanical web shooters, right? Not Sam Raimi style. But fucking, can we stop making this like a point of drama in the episodes?
Well, especially this show goes to that well so often, leading us to why we think this is the worst Peter Parker.
Mm-hmm.
Worse than when Otto Octavius takes over. Pack more than one, idiot. We cut to S.H.I.E.L.D. and Fury is informing Keene what's going on. And Fury never knew who the six were, which shows that this is not the Fury we know, who knows everything always at all times.
He would have known, yes.
And then we see that Aunt May, Aunt Anna, and MJ have gone grocery shopping. And Keene Marlow is just in Aunt May's house again. And she's like, whoa, what are you doing here? And he's like, give me my shit. And she won't let him. And then Scorpion and Shocker roll in and threaten all of them.
One of the most threatening parts of the episode, for sure.
Would you rank them right now, threatening parts?
I would say this one is number one, and then number two is when Keene Marlow is in the house, and then when number three is when Keene Marlow comes up with his name, and he's like, "Yeah, what would be a cool name?" And he comes up with that one,
Keene Marlow. Keene's like, "See, we need this. We need my shit because of these guys. Look at these two costume freaks." Spider-Man shows up, runs out of webbing. Scorpion takes May hostage, and then the Destroyer comes into nowhere. What? Where did he come from? And he just chucks Shocker across the yard, but then his powers fade, and Scorpion gets the key, and Destroyer just passes out.
Now, a little bit of ring talk. Do they have the powers as long as they touch the ring, or does the ring run out of juice? Do you know?
I thought that the rings existed to stop them from running out of the powers. So
it's like a trigger that gives them powers.
That gives them power back. And so you get like 3 minutes. 3 minutes of heroism.
Fuck, man. That's interesting, though. Like, when would you hit that ring?
I want to see a full comic about that. Anna says May and MJ have to follow her home. And MJ's like, no, I'm staying until I find my husband. And Anna's like, fucking fine. And MJ is shocked that Keene Marlow is the Destroyer because Spider-Man has not filled her in on everything that's going on. Then we get another flashback.
And they don't have the internet to like look up Keene Marlow and find out that he's the Destroyer. Like, we all knew for a long time.
We all knew. So Marlowe is now being like, okay, so I was best friends with Ben Parker in the 1930s. And I'm like, whoa, how fucking old are these people? That's crazy. But they were both in love with Lenora Sharp. And she was with Ben until Marlowe got powers. And who knows what Ben's job was, but Lenora is kind of a cape chaser. So now she drops Ben Parker.
She is the one who tries to convince Keene Marlow to not be a superhero anymore.
That is true. And we jump to 1946, and she is begging him to stop, but he just keeps working for the government. And he goes to stop a bank robbery when they're on a date, and she gets shot.
But he had powers, and Ben Parker never did, so fuck Ben Parker.
But together, and I don't love this, Keene Marlow and Ben decided that great responsibility comes after great power.
And this is to me 90s comics of like, a thing happened. Why? Let's define it. Let's make sure that we have a history of that. Like, is there a totem that created the phrase "with great power comes great responsibility"?
This is just as dumb as in the Solo movie. Him being like, Han, huh? No last name, but you're always alone? Gonna call you Han Solo. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you, new writers. You don't have to do that.
What a moment.
So yeah, the Destroyer gave Ben the ring and the costume and the key. And then Peter is just inner monologuing into a mirror while MJ stares at her husband having a mental breakdown because he's not talking to the mirror. He's just glowering at himself in the mirror.
My God, Mike, have you ever seen a better scene, a depiction of marriage than the wife being like, "Hey, how are you?" And the boy just like looking in the mirror being like, "I'm so fucking fat and ugly. God damn it. I'm gonna go eat pudding until I'm satisfied, and I'll never be satisfied." And she's like, "We have children. Can you help raise them?" And the boy is like looking in the mirror being like, "Will a hat fix it? No, nothing will."
And then Spider-Man asks Marlow if he ever missed being a superhero, and he says, "More than the very air I breathe." To be continued.
Man, you could have said anything else. You could have been like, "No, not anymore." But you said that more than the air I breathe, like a Humphrey Bogart line.
So I guess he didn't miss his wife that much. Ryan, before we get to our awards, off air, you were telling me about a new website you wanted to make.
I know, and it's awesome. It's called the BogartNoiseMachine.com. And when you don't know what to say in social situations, you hit a button in your pocket, and then out of your mouth will come a famous Bogart line. Like,
okay, I was going to pitch a scenario. I'm at a dinner party, and somebody just made a clever bon mot that I do not understand. And so I press this, and what is said?
Take the horse and punch the wife.
Man, Humphrey had it all. All right. I am talking to my
Mike,
bank
his
teller.
name was Humphrey Bogart. That's what a name.
What a name. The only cooler name in history is Hogarth Hughes. Ryan, I need... What is the name of this website?
HumphreyBogartLine.com.
HumphreyBogartLine.com. I need it to exist. And I don't trust that you can do it. So I'm going to send you to my friends.
Are we going to do another scenario?
.net. Oh, yeah, sure. Let's do it. Say, I am trying to pitch my friends at cybersprout.net a new website they need to build on the cheap. And they're like, "No, we do need to live. Please pay us." So I press this button, and what is said?
Cigar in your mouth, cigar in your bum.
And then they'll do it. They'll just make it. And they will provide the drag and drop tools. They will provide the maintenance, the security, the speed optimization, everything you need to make this website golden is what cybersprout.net is all about. Your partner for the digital world. Now, Ryan, let's talk web zingers.
Yeah. All right. You ready for mine?
I'm so ready.
I hate mine, Mike. I don't want to.
I don't
want you to give me points.
Okay, I shan't. Unless it's
this
golden.
Fucking sweatered bitch being like, "Oh, the wizard." I hate it.
Mine is Scorpion. Unless did you have more to elaborate on that?
No, it's just like, can we be done with this whole like, oh, heroes from the past have weird names? Shut the fuck up, Peter.
Shut the fuck up. Scorpion, Spider-Man rolls in when Scorpion and Shocker are like threatening two old ladies and a young lady. And Spider-Man shows up and Scorpion says, "Stay out of this, small crawler." I guess that's slightly better than I forget what he had an even dumber one last week. So he's getting better. He's taking notes.
We are seeing progression.
So I get 18 points. What is your yeet of the week?
Oh my God. Of course it is. What is a better yeet than yeeting yourself? When Miss America finds out that she can change her density or mass and then doesn't fly, but just changes it so much that she flies into the clouds and we never see her again for 80 years. But she's just gone. And not in like a hurried superhero sort of way, but just like she just like a balloon floats away. That's
she moved like Poochie moved when he went back to his own planet. My eat of the week is the truest eat we've seen. Is Shocker is about to do some shocking, and Destroyer comes in and just picks him up and hucks him across the yard.
Shock that shit.
So I get 18 more points. Ryan, what is your 90s moment?
I mean, I have to think that it is this weird ass scene where this cartoon is defending Rob Liefeld's drawing and how Cable has a tiny head but a giant body and no feet and giant guns for days. That's my best guess for why this was in the show.
That's pretty good. Mine was, no, Captain America getting frozen. That's old school. We need something 90s. An energy vortex. He's going to show up in Sedona. But Liefeld is the most 90s of people, so you get 18 points. In a New York minute, Ryan.
Tough one, because this was all flashback, which I loved. I will always sit down and watch somebody tell me the history of the Marvel Universe for 22 minutes.
Yes, you will.
But I've never been to New York, Mike, so maybe you can correct me on this, but Spider-Man is swinging through the buildings and gets hit by a flying woman. She's old and she has a purse. Is that New York?
That is so New York. That is specifically Marvel New York. Everything's going down here, and more people would run into each other in the sky. Ryan, you get 36 points.
It's really done very funnily. Like, he is doing a typical Peter Parker bullshit monologue and then just gets fucking ganked by an old lady.
You got to watch for the old ladies in New York. They're going to gank you. Ryan, that is all the time we have. But can you tell our listeners about some websites?
Of course, popfilter.co is our home base where you can get all of our podcasts and then learn how to subscribe to those podcasts from like actual podcatchers. Popfilter.co.
If you want to reach out to us, hit us up on Instagram at popfilterco, or on we're on YouTube. I guess you could hit us up in the comments on YouTube, but that's not normally what I think of when I go to YouTube.
But I feel like that you've developed a thing where we will respond.
We'll respond, and let me tell you, you're not going to like it. I only check YouTube comments when I'm feeling salty.
Do you want a New York moment for yourself? Respond on YouTube, and you're going to get a New York commenter.
Look, I want you to do it, but I also think anybody who comments on YouTube, get a fucking life. I'm just now thinking about all the comments that have made me bad, and it made me lose
all of
my...
them are like, all right, idiot, I'll stab you. Here's a bagel and a pizza.
Ryan, what is another show people should check out?
Movie of the year, Mike. We are so fucking into 1999 Part 2. We have, I think Election is out at this point. Mm-hmm. I think that, like, at least our intro, talking about the movies that we're talking about. And I feel like that if you were trying to listen to the intro but you couldn't because somebody messed up, now you can go back and listen to it and listen to the actual show.
And thank you, lovely listeners who let us know that. Jared, other guy.
Dean and Paul.
Email us when we fuck up. popfilterco@gmail.com.
It does help.
It really does help. If you want me to trust you and like who you are, email us. If you want me to get real bitchy, comment on YouTube.
No, and Mike is fun when he's bitchy. When he's not being fun, he's not bitchy. So you want to get him bitchy. Also, we are just not but 15 weeks away from the big email show.
But before we get then, next week, we're coming back with more Spider-Man, the animated series. What else happens in the lives of the 6 forgotten warriors that now we've all remembered? Time to find out.